Hey guys, it's Paradise, and if you jumped into the first Battlefield 6 beta and felt like some things could do with improvements for the final game, well, you weren't the only ones, as there's a big list of changes and issues being looked at by the developers after lots of community feedback. For example, if you were getting deleted instantly in fights, well, you weren't imagining it. The devs are looking into a super bullets bug, making time to kill feel way too fast, along with this and a host of other changes, so we're going to go through all of them. Before we get into the changes that will happen in the full game though, there's also this weekend's fresh content that we can actually play right now, so let's jump into that first. The first big addition is a brand new map, Empire State. It drops us into the heart of a reimagined New York City, with tight streets to fight on, high-rise interiors, and plenty of vertical combat compared to last weekend's maps. Empire State feels much more dense and urban, but it still offers some longer sightlines if you can lock down key vantage points. There's also the new modes, like the fan favorite Rush making a return, which we cannot wait to try out, as well as Squad Deathmatch, which will be really interesting as we've been enjoying the non-traditional Battlefield modes like King of the Hill and Domination last weekend. There's also plenty of challenges that can be completed for brand new rewards in the final game, notably including the War Machine tank skin, the Bat Company dog tags, and a cool looking Dominion SMG skin. Furthermore, along with the new Rush mode and map, there is now a custom search option. This allows you to filter the game modes and maps that you want to play when searching. So while a full server browser isn't available like in the past games, it will make it much easier to target the maps and modes you enjoy most. Now, while that's what's currently live for us to test now in the beta, the devs have laid out some big changes coming for the full release in various posts on social media. The information is fragmented over a bunch of posts from different people, so we've been working hard to put it all together into one useful video that hopefully you find helpful. One of the biggest talking points from the first beta weekend is what people have been calling a super bullets bug. In simple terms, it's a glitch in the damage system where certain bullets were hitting way harder than they were supposed to, sometimes deleting you in just a single frame. From what the devs have said, this isn't intentional, but it's a problem with how damage was being calculated under specific conditions. In some cases, it seems like the game was stacking damage incorrectly, effectively turning regular rounds into super bullets. This is why you might have felt like everyone else was running a railgun or you were firing a pea shooter. The team is actively investigating this for full release, but it's not something they can hotfix mid-beta without potentially breaking other core systems. So if you still run into moments this weekend where you go from full HP to 0 instantly, that could likely be the same bug in action. The good news is though, they have acknowledged it, and it's high on their list of things to fix before launch. Another key thing being rebalanced for the weapons is the recoil. You see, in the open beta, it uses the same build as the multiplayer reveal event that you may have seen a lot of streamers and content creators playing, and they've been gathering feedback specifically around weapon recoil patterns this whole time. While the changes are not currently present in the open beta, so you won't feel them yet, they've already made a whole series of balance passes that have been implemented for full release around this. They also comment on how they're paying close attention to player feedback around all things related to the weapons and gunplay, and will give us further updates on these details to specific weapon balance and gameplay soon. Now, some players aren't thrilled with the beta's tight, fast-paced maps, with one of the common comparisons of it feeling too much like Call of Duty. Some of the longtime Battlefield fans are worried it's drifting away from its signature, methodical, large-scale combat. Well, the devs haven't ignored that feedback. The lead producer, David Serland, has reassured players that the beta isn't the full launch map selection, noting it was chosen precisely to showcase high-octane combat. He said speed is a factor of map size. We picked these maps to make sure we hit the full-octane version of Battlefield on the head. Large maps do exist, and the tempo scales accordingly, you'll be able to see soon enough. So this does fully confirm that the full release version will include much larger battlefields that allow for a broader and more old school Battlefield feel, which is exactly the kind of pacing that many players are missing and yearning for. We know that the full game will include 9 maps in total, with one of them being a returning classic and more on the way after launch. On top of the map selection, the devs are actively reworking map layouts based on player feedback as well. They say several distinct changes have been made to the layout of objectives, including improved cover, adjusted objective sizes, and tailored designs to support balanced play for both sides. They've even refreshed visual boundaries, repositioned turrets, and are tracking movement patterns to fine-tune the flow. and as they approach the final stages of development, further iterations based on feedback is also expected to be implemented. Next, let's talk about helicopters because they've been a big pain point in the beta, and particularly for us who love a good old school duo helicopter run. In general, players have been vocal about the controls feeling awkward and sluggish compared to past Battlefield titles, making precision flying and tight maneuvers far more difficult. To make matters worse, life in the air has been extra brutal for players because now more players are carrying launchers than ever before, and helicopters are being swatted out of the sky in seconds. It's often before a pilot can even line up a decent attack run. For some, this has turned the flying into a frustrating exercise of survival rather than the power play that it's meant to be. The developers have acknowledged the problem but made it clear that they weren't simply reverting to the old control scheme. Instead, they're doing a large pass on helicopter flight, which is currently in progress, and they will overhaul how they handle. This rework is scheduled for testing after the beta, giving the team time to tweak balance between air mobility and ground counterplay. The aim is to keep helicopters feeling dangerous and rewarding for skilled pilots, without letting them completely dominate matches or become paper planes in the face of coordinated anti-air fire. Meanwhile, on the weapons side, Westy did flag an issue with broken shotgun damage during the beta. This got a direct response from the Battlefield community manager Tom Stratman and lead gameplay designer Florian Lebian. Both of them acknowledged the problem and confirmed that adjustments are on the way. Alongside that, they are also looking at the engineers being able to carry dual launchers, as in previous games you had to pick between having either a Stinger or an RPG. But because Battlefield 6 allows you to carry both, you probably have a lot more players running around being able to take out any type of vehicle, further adding to the problems of things like helicopters going down super quick. Now, the sliding and movement has also been one of the most debated mechanics in the beta. Some players love the speed and fluidity it adds, while others are saying it makes the game far too much like Call of Duty. Developer Total FPS told players that they're already looking at adjustments, effectively saying, rest assured it isn't where we want it to be and balance is in order. Now, we personally didn't have a massive issue with the sliding or see that many people really using it, but it will be interesting to see where it lands in the final game. Classes are also getting a meaningful shakeup for the full release, with adjustments aimed at making each role feel a lot more distinct and more valuable to squad play. The devs have reworked traits and gadgets to provide passive squad benefits that encourage teamwork instead of pure solo heroics. One of the biggest changes here is the reallocation of the spawn beacon, now renamed to the deploy beacon, from the recon gadget pool over to the assault class. The devs explained that while the beacon has always been a recon staple, it also created problems, often being used by lone snipers to redeploy in obscure, hard-to-reach rooftops or cliff edges. By moving it over to Assault, they're intentionally redefining it as a team play tool for frontline flanking and coordinated squad movement. The deploy beacon will now have a finite number of uses per squad and will self-destruct if the Assault player respawns on it. So it's going to be a limited tactical resource instead of a permanent spawn advantage. This essentially directly addresses past concerns that Assault could be too focused on lone wolf play. Support is also getting some love, with a focus on tuning the rate of supply crates and rebalancing how the class weapon buffs contribute to the overall flow of battle. The goal here is to ensure that when you have a support player in your squad, you actually feel their impact over the course of a match, both in keeping your team supplied and in boosting weapon performance at key moments. While for the recon, we are seeing a dramatic identity shift. The Pathfinder trait will be gone and replaced with a Spec Ops trait, which is a deliberate nod to a more stealthy, explosive-oriented class, which was last seen in Battlefield 2. This new direction for recon will give them a stronger, close to mid-range presence while keeping its utility in spotting and disruption. At level 0 of the trait, it allows for quieter takedowns and silent crouch or prone movement, making it easier to slip behind enemy lines. At Spec Ops 1, it adds the ability to detect enemy gadgets when you're not sprinting, giving you more awareness. And at level 2, it will change how prone works entirely, where going prone will take you out of combat faster and remove spot markers on your character, letting you disappear more effectively even in the heat of a fight. So overall, these changes are designed to make each class not just a weapon choice, but an overall strategic role within the team and squad. But they do still want to leave some room for individual skill to shine. But for now, in the current beta, it's all about Empire State and the new modes, while in the background the team is overhauling helicopters, fixing the super bullet bugs, tuning weapons and movement, and working to make the maps feel more balanced. I'll be playing the new map all weekend to see how it plays because I'm super excited about it, but do share this with your squad so they're up to date on everything new coming to Battlefield. And keep an eye out for our full breakdowns coming soon. Here at Arekkz Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.